If the Reds are going to sell, will they even do it? And if they do it, Nick, who do you sell?
Yeah, I mean, well, the next 5 days, are pretty important in terms of which direction of the Reds go. If the next 5 days go bad, it's almost impossible, I think, for them to overcome that and get to a point where I would even consider buying. For me to consider not selling, the Reds would have to be at least, and I'm not even sure that this threshold I love, they have to at least be 2 games back. If they are 3 games back or more, they should be selling. They should be out. I'm not doing the game like we did last year, and I don't think they will, and I think it's going to piss me off. But who knows? The next 5 days, you're not going to have a better 5-day opportunity than the Reds have over the next 5 days. They face the number 1 and the number 2 worst ERA pitchers in the sport tomorrow and Friday. Now, does it mean they'll hit? I don't know. God, how do you know any day what this team will do offensively? I don't know. But the next 5 days, you couldn't have it handed on a platter a better 5 days for you to try to go on a 5-game win streak to get to the end of the half. Now they might go 0-5, and to be honest, I kind of hope they do. I hope they go 5-0 or 0-5. To be honest, I'm so tired of this. Like, should we buy? Should we sell? I want to know where we're at. So yeah, that's where I'm at in terms of, should you buy or not? Who should you sell? You shouldn't sell the obvious ones only. You shouldn't trade Nick Martinez for a team that's going to take his contract and give you a lottery ticket as your only move. You shouldn't trade Brady Singer and he's your only move. You got to make bold trades. You go out and you trade a guy like Nick Lodolo if a team gives you a massive return back. You go out and you trade TJ Friedel if a team gives you a massive return back. Those are the bold moves that I want the Reds to make, not the go out and trade all your prospects for Byron Buxton. I want them to make the bold selling moves, selling high, getting great value, because that's what can take this team over the hump, not short-term fixes.
There is nobody on this baseball team, maybe outside of Elly, that I would not listen to offers for. And I know that seems absolutely lunacy. I get that some might think that selling Andrew Abbott right this very moment might seem crazy. I would just say that is what you have to do if you're going to sell. You just can't do the whole, well, he's playing well, let's not sell him. That's called non-risk management, like completely adverse. You don't want to risk anything. And let's be frank, this team can't middle in the middle with the situation that they have from a financial standpoint to be able to be conservative when it comes to trades for guys that you think you could get big hauls for. Andrew Abbott, currently at this very moment, it's hard to say that maybe his stock would ever get higher, but I'd also openly admit that maybe other franchises won't give you back as much as you'd like. This is where we do the same stupid song and dance with the trades every single year, Nick, where it's like you got to know what you're getting back in return. But you could even get me to a point, Nick, which it sucks. I hate that we're even in this spot. But if you gave me the entire farm system in the offseason and you just said, hey, we'll literally hand you over give me 8 top 100 prospects, which I don't even know if there's a franchise that has that for Elly. I would even be in a spot where you would even consider it. Now, to be very clear, it'd have to be so absurdly stupid that no franchise would do it. Because I do think at some point you got to keep Major League talent on your Major League Baseball team for you to eventually get to a spot where you can win. And you can't keep playing this, in 2 years we'll be good. In 2 years we'll be good. Nick Krall should know how much money he has at his disposal in the offseason to spend, okay? Nick Krall should know how his ownership group feels about what the next CBA is going to be or not be and how he can go about trying to make a competitive baseball team. So Nick Krall ultimately should know these things, and I'm guessing that he does. The question is he going to have the guts and the kahunas to go out and try to find ways to really manipulate baseball teams that are desperate at the deadline? That's what this is about. You gotta fleece teams that are trying to go and win and go all in with a 50% chance of making the postseason. That's what they need to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, I mean, I'm with you. I don't think anyone's completely untouchable, but as close as you could possibly get, I think it's Elly. I think it's Hunter Greene. I know he's getting a lot of flack right now because he's been hurt, but you talk about getting into a postseason and actually doing anything. A guy like Hunter Greene's the guy that can actually get you to the next level. And I think Chase Burns. I mean, I think those are the three players. Other than that, I don't give a damn who you trade if you get a great return back. But you have to do two things at once. You have to be able to trade players at high value and also still be able to try to build a winner for next year. And that's what the Milwaukee Brewers do. That's what they do. I mean, how many good players have we seen the Milwaukee Brewers lose and they still somehow, some way find a way to win the next year? I mean, that team lost Chase Burns. They lost Willy Adames. Who else did they lose? Devin Williams? I mean, those are some ridiculously talented players. They lose them, they trade them when their value's high, and they keep the line moving. That's what the Reds got to do. And they're not close enough to the level where they can actually keep doing that. They need to make more moves to get to that level. And my biggest fear right now with this organization, Trace, is that they're too stuck in the we got Francona, we have to win now, that if it does get to the point of selling, where that I'm worried they're not going to do what they need to do. That's my biggest fear.
Yeah, I mean, Joey Ortiz obviously at this point isn't. I'm just looking, trying to see what the. I mean, you know, they traded Corbin Burns, and then that that's the opposite side of, you know, going all in too, right? Is like the Orioles. You look at what the Orioles did or didn't do, if you want to call it that. And I don't know if there's a perfect way of going about all this, but at the end of the day, the Reds better know what their farm system is. And that's what I said to you the other night. They need to know their farm system better than anybody else. We'll see if they do, because I as much as you always preach, hey, you can't get rid of these prospects, you got to keep them and hold them, or you got to make sure that you don't just completely sell out. I would argue that if you have a very good scouting department and you have a good development team, then you should feel like you can always dip down into maybe that well because you can replace it. You feel confident that you can replace it in short order. The question is whether or not they can. I don't know. You got to draft.
You can replace it if you're you could replace it if you're a top 5 farm system in baseball, but the Reds are like 12th. They're not at that level. And so you have to get to that level before you can do things like that. And they're not at that level. They're not at that level. They're not at the level of winning now at the big leagues. And they're not terrible either. They're not the Colorado Rockies. They're not the Angels. Yeah. We're just stuck in purgatory right now.
Yeah. And it's a shame that Nick Krall, and I say a shame, but you know, I mean, the fact that he had the quote that I think he didn't mean to say, I'm trying to defend him as much as I can. But the fact that he did say that we're trying to avoid the peaks and valleys, he's doing exactly that. I mean, to a T. So what a bad thing to accidentally say, you know. It's like almost like, you know, being around your wife and you mean to say something that you accidentally stumble over your words and you say something else. And then all of a sudden, she thinks she said something, so she starts digging around, and then it almost appears that perhaps you really meant what you didn't mean to say. That's what's happening for Nick Krall right now. We're going to try to eliminate the peaks and valleys. I think he tried to say we're going to try to eliminate the valleys, but here we are.